one.
In today's video, we're going to talk about how to pick the right teacher on Italki. And I have my teacher from Italki, Camilla. Camilla and I have been working together for 2 years now, and she's amazing. She is the best teacher, in my opinion, on Italki. And this video is going to be in English. So if you are Brazilian or Brazilian Portuguese is your first language, you can hit the subtitle button below and translate it so you can follow along. Plus, this is great listening practice, okay? So, Camilla, oh, my favorite person.
Oh.
I want to ask you some questions. I want to ask you how to pick the right teacher on Italki. And I want to ask you, what do you look for when picking a teacher?
Oh, that's an excellent question, Brendan. So when you know that I study a lot of languages and I have studied a lot of languages in the past as well. So whenever I'm selecting a teacher, I pay close attention to the method they use, also how their profile are organized, the courses descriptions. I look at the numbers of lessons that they have taught. I look if they look friendly, because that's going to be a person that I'm going to
Smile?
do they smile? Yeah, because that is someone that I'm going to spend a lot of time with. So it is very important for me to feel comfortable. Also, I look at if they have a structure in their lessons, if they prepare something, if they use, for example, Google Slides or Google Docs. And yeah, I watch their videos. I try to read the reviews as well, if they have good reviews. So yeah, I look at a large amount of things when I'm choosing.
Yeah, there's so many factors, so many things to look at when picking a teacher. Yeah. What do you think is the most important thing? So if you only had to choose one, what is the most important thing that you look for in a teacher?
A good question. Yeah, I think for me personally, the most important thing is the teacher being passionate about what they're doing. Yeah, because I try to select, as a teacher myself, I try to select someone who's a bit similar to what I am to my students. I want to find exactly what I try to be as a teacher. So I think the most thing is like being passionate about your job, because if you're passionate about it, you are always improving as a teacher. You are always like studying, reading, and trying to be better and better. So
you look for teachers who, you know, they learn other languages, Portuguese or English,
exactly,
their only language that they speak.
yeah.
So they probably speak 2 or 3 languages, and they're very good. They know what they're talking about. They're not reading from a textbook or, you know, just from a study plan. Like, they really do put a lot of time, and this is more than a job. It's their life. It's their passion.
Exactly, Brandon. Exactly. Yeah, for me, it is very important that this teacher is a learner as well, because how else could you teach if you're not learning? So yeah, so I try to look if the teacher has learned the language before. Well, even though the lessons, I prefer them to be in the language, the target language that I'm learning, but it is important that the teacher has this background in languages, in learning languages.
Yeah, and that's actually what I was looking for. So you speak English, Portuguese, and Spanish, and and I know French, and there's a few others that you speak, but those are the main languages. And when I saw that you spoke English, Spanish, and Portuguese, and you've also taught over 4,000 lessons. So Camilla, she's taught over 4,000 lessons, and most teachers on Italki, they've taught 300, 400 lessons. And it just means that they're newer to Italki. Camilla, she's been doing this for a very long time, and she's refined her study plan. So she always tries to make it better and adapts to the student, which I think is very important.
Yeah, no, yeah, exactly. That thing you said is very important, because everyone comes from a different background. So if you're not willing to adapt, it's it's not going to happen. So yeah, so it is very important to find a teacher who can adapt, who
Mhm.
can
Yeah.
consider your personal history.
Right, because not every person's the same. Every student has different needs or different priorities. So you, as a
Yeah.
teacher, have to be able to adapt to them, not the other way around.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So as a student, yeah, it is very important that the teacher see through the students' eyes their goals, their difficulties, their needs, as you said.
Hmm.
It is very important that the teacher put themselves in the students'
Hmm.
shoes
Yeah.
uh, in order to
Uh-huh.
create better lessons. Yes.
Hmm. So how do you stand out from another teacher? So before you ever talk to a teacher, before you ever book your lesson, I go on Italki, I sign up. There's over 5,000 choices, 5,000 potential teachers to work with. How do I know which one to work with just based on all the information?
Mhm. Yes, so italki gives you the opportunity to experiment three teachers. So you have
Uh,
three trials. So I
mhm,
would suggest that you would select well, at first, as you said, you go to italki, you have a great amount of choices. So
mhm.
you use the filters. There are filters in italki, right?
Filters.
Filters, yes. So we use the filters to, for example, as for Portuguese. If you
Mhm,
learn in Portuguese, you could choose a teacher from Portugal or a teacher from Brazil.
mhm,
So, well, there are other countries too, but the main
uh-huh,
options would be Portugal, Brazil. So you use the
uh-huh,
future, you select the,
mhm,
the, the nationality of the teacher.
mhm,
You would use the filters to select the the languages that you want them
mhm.
to speak, because maybe you're a beginner and you want someone who understands your language. So you use the
Mhm,
filters that would
mhm.
facilitate for you, and after that you would still would have a lot of options. So you would watch some videos and read the profiles, the reviews, and then you would experiment with
Yeah,
three teachers, and
I
then
think
you
that's the big thing, right?
yeah,
Is experimentation. You want to
yeah,
experiment different teachers because sometimes you look at somebody's profile, but then when you talk to them, it doesn't feel right. There's
yeah,
something off. And so I think you definitely take advantage of those 3 trial lessons and then buy a package, then do 3 lessons or 6 lessons with that person and see how it goes. So I think that's a great idea. And then plus there's the time. So if you are busy in the morning, and have more time available in the evening, then you want to find a teacher who has a very similar schedule. And I know that when I was booking lessons, I didn't want to pay a crazy amount of money. I wanted to pay a certain amount so you can filter by money.
yeah.
So if you're on a budget, that's really, really useful. So use all those filters. It's in the top part of the screen. And try a couple different teachers because you don't know who's going to be the best teacher for you.
Exactly. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, you should try, because you want to be comfortable with the person that you're learning with from, and you want them eventually to you want to become their friends. You
Mhm.
want to have a relationship where you are comfortable making mistakes, laughing at your mistakes. So yeah, you want someone like that.
Yeah, you're like my sister now,
Yeah.
and we've made so many mistakes together and so many embarrassing moments. Eu paguei um mico like every time together. Oh my Deus. But it's part of learning. You need to
Exactly.
make mistakes. And actually, I wanted to tell you why I picked you as my teacher.
Yes, I wanted to ask you that. Yeah, why did you pick me?
So I, I was really overwhelmed when I first went on Italki. Gavin Roy, who has an amazing channel, Small Advantages,
Yeah.
he talked about Italki, and I went on there and I didn't know who I should pick as my teacher. Like a lot of us, we don't know who to pick. And I watched your video, and first, the red hair. Your red
God.
hair, it stood out to me, and I
Oh,
watched your video. And you just had such a good personality. You were friendly, you were warm, you were somebody that I felt I could get along with.
yeah.
So I booked my first lesson with you, and then after our first lesson, I booked like 10 more lessons.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so yeah, I remember our first lesson. It's been two years like
Mhm.
working together, and
Mhm.
I still remember
Mhm.
you are and you have always been so motivated about learning.
Mhm.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah, well, I mean, my girlfriend, she's Brazilian,
Yeah.
and English is not her first language like most people watching. And I really want to help her learn English. I really want to become fluent. And it's not just about speaking the language. You want to learn the culture. You want to understand these people at a deeper level. So you really have to speak the language. You really have to, travel to the country and immerse yourself. And so that's what I tried to do from the very first moment we met. And, I'm still motivated.
Yeah. Yeah, amazing. Amazing.
Yeah. Well, for any of you guys who have enjoyed this conversation and stayed to the very end, I'm going to put Camilla's link in the description below. So if any of you guys want to book a lesson with her or talk to her or ask her any questions, you're welcome to do so. And Camilla, thank you so
Oh,
much for joining me
a
today.
pleasure. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Beijo, abraço forte.
Beijo. Tchau, tchau.
Ciao.